In this video, we're going to explore some various kinds of fats and how they relate to chemical topics, and examine these fats as they appear on the actual nutrition labels in these two kinds of olive and vegetable oil. So you may have heard of the types of fat like saturated fat or unsaturated fat. So here's what these different types actually mean. So both of these types of fat all belong to a broad class of biomolecules called lipids. And essentially what these lipids are they're long chains or long hydrocarbons containing primarily carbon and hydrogen. So both saturated and unsaturated fats are kinds of lipids, and they're also, more specifically, kinds of fatty acids. And these fatty acids mostly contain hydrogen, carbon, and oxygen, although there are some exceptions. So here, let's take a look at the nutrition label on this extra virgin olive oil here. You can see under total fat, we have saturated fat. Now this type of fat is actually, in large quantities, can be harmful to your body. This is the less healthy of the two fats, and this is because it leads to the rapid formation of cholesterol, and cholesterol can lead to plaque buildup in your arteries, which in turn increases your risk of a stroke or a heart attack. So we can see we have 2 grams of saturated fat here. That's 9% of your daily value, so a pretty small amount. Then we have trans fat. It's 0 grams for this one, but that's because they're required to list the trans fat quantity even if there's no trans fat in there, just to be clear to the consumer, because trans fats can be actually quite harmful if you have too much of it. The reason for this is because trans fats can drastically increase the amount of what we call bad cholesterol, or LDL, low-density lipoproteins. And this LDL, again, comes back to contribute to plaque buildup inside your arteries, which is a bad thing. So we have 0 grams here for trans fat. For polyunsaturated fat, we have 1.5 grams. So we have poly here, we have mono. These are the 2 main subcategories of unsaturated fat. The main difference here has to do with the bonding of carbon atoms within their chains. None is really better than the other here because unsaturated fats themselves are generally pretty healthy for your body because they aren't a good starting material for synthesizing cholesterol, which means that unsaturated fats are actually pretty good for the overall health of your blood system. So you can see we have 1.5 grams of the poly type and 10 grams of the monotype. So now, let's see the nutrition label for the vegetable oil here and see how this compares. So we have 2 grams of saturated fat once again, but now we have much more unsaturated fat, 9 grams of poly, and mono has 3 grams. So a slight increase over what we had back here. So this is about 12 grams total of unsaturated fat, and this here is 11.5. So it's similar, and the total fat is the same amount here. So you can see that looking at both of these nutrition labels here, how the levels of saturated fat and unsaturated fat compare with these 2 different types of oil, the vegetable oil and the olive oil. So that was our dive into the chemical explanation behind these various types of fat and which ones are actually good for your body and why.